It's always on a Friday or a Saturday. They try to get this stuff by you when you're not paying attention. Big, major catalyst. Now, this is something everybody who's in it for the bank money, they're after the banks, waiting for the banks to come in and flood these bank coin blockchains with capital, with value, consistent value, which will be a huge moment. This is something everybody who's like that needs to know. This is huge. And they're admitting something here. They're confirming something. This article is titled Cost and Integration Concerns May Keep Smaller Banks from Adopting Real-Time Payments. Folks, it's not a game. Now you see, we're closer than ever to this is as close to a guarantee as we're going to get to taking that bank money. There's so many things they need. Are you seeing all of this mounting up? Are you seeing that over the last few months, they've been admitting, giving us a list of things that they need from only DLT can provide in order to survive. It's getting hot in here. Wait, so they told us they need smart contracts. One, they told us they need transparency, and that's going to be enforced by their regulators. Two, they proved that they desire transparency because in 2024, they took a myriad of these banks to court. Remember that? A lot of them, the big ones. And they were in violation of what? Not following certain rules when it comes to transparency with where money is going. And then some of them got in trouble for illicit transactions to entities they were not supposed to be interacting with. Ooh, yeah, it got hot in 2024. If you weren't here and you didn't see those articles, now you know. Go look them up on Google. Do a Google search or use AI, whatever you got to do. Go take a look at that. Big banks in court. Type that in. They even got, a lot of these big banks even got sued by the SEC. They want transparency. So that's like 2 or 3. There you go. Transparency. And now, and I said this before. Listen, of course, the cost, how did they phrase it here? Cost. Integration was going to be a problem. Let's talk about cost. Everything else costs too much. In the legacy system offerings, which failed, they're used to, making a huge profit off of something by overcharging you. That's it, by overcharging. Whereas the DLT companies, Bankcoin blockchains like Ripple, Solana, Chainlink, what are we known for? For keeping it cheap. It doesn't cost a lot of money, which means what? That means there's no excuse why every bank can't have a piece of this technology. One, that leads to what? That means there's no reason why a flood of capital from a cadre of banks, thousands of banks, wouldn't be possible. It's not a guarantee. Wouldn't be possible to flood these Bankcoin blockchains. That means that those prices would go through the roof. Am I kidding? Am I exaggerating? No. That's a logical and reasonable possibility. Yes? Are there other possibilities? Sure. A lot of you are going to throw those out there. No doubt about it. But this has the biggest possibility of happening this way. They need something affordable. We can provide it. The Bankcoin blockchains can provide it. Not only that, we can provide the transparency. We can provide top-notch smart contracts. We can provide quantum proofing. Another thing. So, did you see the article that came out? Look all of this up. Did you see the article that came out that said that there was a bank? I can't remember which one. It was a big one that has already begun attempting to utilize quantum computers. Didn't I tell you? I said what? Like 2 years ago, I said DLT, AI, and quantum computing would come together, and now you're starting to see it. They were talking about that in an article about maybe a week or a week and a half ago. That's huge. They're going to need quantum proofing in their systems. Some of the bank coins, and the members know this, the members only section knows this. You got to go scroll through those posts. Watch the videos. That's cool too. Scroll through those posts. They know. I put the list. I don't know if it was in a video or a post, but I put it on there. Some of the bank coins have been getting ready. That's all I'll say. With quantum proofing. We have literally everything that they need, not want, not desire, need. Let me read this a little bit to you. I want you to hear this for yourself, okay? It says, of the small financial institutions, which remember, let me stop there. Remember, we were already in hand in hand with the big ones. We had a whole bunch of giant banks praising XRP and XRPL. So that's nothing. The big and the medium, we're going to take them. In my humble opinion, not financial advice, but this is what it looks like. We already have a relationship. We have a bunch of partnerships. Well, okay. The small ones, I said this, the small banks and the small and medium sized businesses, folks, we're talking extra trillions. Why wouldn't you want that? That's what makes that price go through the roof permanently. We're talking about, listen, there's people in it for the short term. There's people in it for the long term. I'm a long term individual. I have a plan. I set my mind to it. I'm on the path. That's it. I'm not asking anybody to walk that path with me at all. You got your path. I got mine. I have mine. But what long term we're looking for, and here's another thing. You think that this was the only article today where they were telling? No, I got another one. I have another one. Just wait until that next one. They're letting the people know. All right. Permanently, those prices will rise. In the future, once that utility run kicks off, and people better be listening out for those partnerships. They better be listening out for these companies when a small article might come out talking about they're speaking to another company, etc. They may be acquiring something, any of this verbiage. Take note, because that could be a huge catalyst and it will get buried. They are in the business right now. Pay attention. A lot of the big news is getting buried. Something big happens. A few article writers cover it. Then it gets buried by something big. Oh, ETF. This ETF is happening. They'll crush that news and get it out of the way. Every time something really significant happens, they put out something else that's popular the same time. And they crush that news and it just goes away. Well, everybody looks this way talking about what's popular. When the popular stuff, sure, can that make some money? Okay, yeah, sure, it can. But this stuff over here are the major catalysts that makes wealth, riches. Once again, that next article, let me slide that article up. I was going to do it last. I'm not going to do it last. I'm going to do it next. There's something happening where everything is flipping. I'm telling you right now, everyone's going long term behind the scenes. But let me read this. Let me finish this. We'll get to that. And it shows you how bullish crypto is. Even with consolidation, crypto remains bullish. Even with a dip or correction, crypto remains super bullish. When the world spins in a circle, you better learn to move backwards. The crowd is usually wrong. Don't go with the crowd. The crowd is usually wrong. There's usually only a handful of people on the right side of history. But that's just my opinion. You do what you have to do. Make up your own mind. Let me read the rest of this a little bit. Yeah, it's an exciting Saturday. They always try to slide something in on a Friday and Saturday. I don't say that willy-nilly. I say that because it's true. They know you want to go out and party, you want to hang out, and you should. You worked hard all week. But they also know you're not paying attention to the news like that, but I am. That's why I'm here. I have your back. See, this is what we do. No, now I'm a team type person, and I've always been in a leadership position. I'm going to bring you what's necessary for the team to win. I like to win. It says here, of the small financial institutions that don't offer real-time payments, 30%, and when they say small, they mean in size. It's not a small amount. Remember, over 70% of businesses collectively are not into DLT technologies just yet. Just wait. So, or real-time payments. Just remember that. 30, at least if I'm getting that correctly, we just covered something like that recently. I believe I'm saying that correctly. Don't quote me on that, but look it up for yourself. 30% say they do not have a pricing plan in place. Why? Because they've been waiting. They knew the legacy system can't help them with integration, because if they help you with integration, you're going to have to give up a piece of control. It's just like being in any other industry. If you receive help in the sports industry, if you receive help in the music industry, I'm telling you right now, listen, I'm a little older now. When I was younger, I was cooking. I cooked in a lot of different industries. I'm telling you, I have a lot of experience. If someone helps you, they're going to own a piece of you. Right. That's why it always pays I like to walk my own path and stay independent. Independent is the way. I'm just saying, because it's the same way here. If they help you with integration, they're going to control a piece of what you're doing. They're going to want a piece of it. They're going to have a significant hand in it. They're going to have a significant say, and they can wield it in different ways. A lot of those ways are going to be unconventional. You're not going to see them coming. So they don't want that. when it comes to integration, and they don't want to be overcharged. And the legacy system is definitely going to do that. They've always done it. They've always gotten away with it. They're going to overcharge them, so they can't do that. So guess what they've been doing? Waiting. Everybody knew. They just didn't have the heart to say it, like I did and a few others did during the bloody bear market where everybody turned against crypto. Everybody. And everybody ran away from crypto. They didn't have the guts to say it. But a few of us did, and I said it. I said what? I said those institutions are going to run towards DLT technology. They're going to need DLT technology. Now, what are you seeing? Now they're all talking about it out loud. They're talking about it. Here we go. Let's go. So they didn't need a pricing plan at the time because the companies that they were planning on working with weren't free at the time. Makes sense? Ripple is just now about to be freed. Crypto is just now about to be free. Not only in the US, although that is significant, folks. See, we haven't begun to play. But now that means globally, crypto is about to be freed. But let's keep going. It says this: 35% of them say that integration complexities are an impediment. We just went over it. What are the complexities? Oh, and don't forget, they don't want to train almost anyone. With legacy system offerings, you're going to have to do a lot of training and overburden your workers. And we heard even from the BIS, if a giant, powerful financial entity like the BIS said themselves, we all know it. You read it. I read it. We read it together a bunch of times. But if the powerful entity like the BIS says, hey, we just want to be able to deploy this technology, we don't necessarily need to have our employees retrained and overburdened. I'm paraphrasing, but you remember this. Come on now. They didn't want to take on more burden. They just wanted to have power over the system that's deployed. That's it. If they feel like that, of course, the smaller banks have to. They have to. Listen, you look at what's going on in the financial industry. If you're just keeping up with regular financial industry news, the workers are so stressed out, it's beyond belief. They have to keep checking on them. They have to keep checking on these people. There's people passing away at their desk. They're so overworked. We've read the articles here. It's not an exaggeration. I'm not just making something up. This is real stuff. So could you imagine being an overworked employee of the financial system? And then you have to get more training to work other systems? Come on now, no. And they know that's not feasible. It's not reasonable. So this has nothing to do with them being magnanimous, right? Of course not. But they know this would be, as they say, an impediment. It will be a negative. So how do they get around that, folks? Wait a minute. The bank coin companies have been perfecting something over the years, and that's why they were telling you the whole time. And what were they perfecting? They were perfecting easeability of deployment, easeability of use. Some of these things you don't need training, minimal. If you need any training for, minimal to operate them. You could deploy them with a line or two of code. Remember, they used to always brag about that? That was important. That wasn't for you and I. Well, it's for you and I as researchers, but for regular people, it wasn't for them. It wasn't for the banks to see like, oh, you're making this easier. Okay. Of course, there are no impediments when it's time to be unleashed. I'm expecting, and I could be wrong, but I'm taking into account all of these different variables. So there's no impediments. We should be able to sweep the table of banks at some point. I don't know when. I can't tell you when. I'm not a psychic. But think about it. Just be honest with me. I'm being honest with you. Be honest with me. Does it look like we could sweep the table? To me, it does. If there's the right push, if these companies take it seriously and see the opportunity at hand. And I think they do. But wait, let's go a little further. It says, while 23% of these banks cite cost of implementation as a concern. Cost, that's not going to be an issue here. We don't have to overcharge anyone. The bank coin companies have hung their hat on affordability, on cheapness of transaction fees, saving people money. There's no way that's not consistent across the board. We've been in massive negotiations. We can keep the technology very, very cheap, as a matter of fact. And let me tell you something about new companies coming in, what I've seen over the last few decades. New companies that are about to strike it big, and they know it. They know it. They tend to kneecap the competition by undercutting them in costs massively. You're saying to yourself, Mick, how could you say such a thing? What's your evidence? I don't know how old everybody is, but if you're old enough, do you remember way back when Amazon was not profitable? Remember that? Oh, yeah. Remember when they weren't making a profit each year? Remember that? Remember when they were struggling? What were they doing at the time to get to where they are now? What were they doing? What was the complaint about Amazon back then? They were selling things so much cheaper than everyone else. Has everyone forgotten? They were getting complaints against them for how cheap they were selling their products. That's how they caught up to everybody. That's why everybody started going Amazon. There wasn't any 2-day, 1-day delivery back then. They had cheap stuff. If you see these new sites like Temu, whatever you call it, Shein, whatever that's called, that everybody's complaining about. All the business people complaining about because they're so cheap. If you see them, that's how Amazon used to be. People have forgotten, but wait, that's how most of these businesses where they see a void that can be filled, they see business that can be taken, that's what they do. So now I'm taking that, and that's just one example. That's just one. I'm taking that and superimposing that on the bank coin industry, which outright has made itself known for being affordable. And I'm saying to myself, I think they're going to do the same thing. Listen, they have such an advantage right now. They can scoop up so many thousands of banks right now. Thousands of banks are on their knees in the US. Globally, it's unbelievable. Take a look at the numbers. Take a look at the list of banks that are in trouble globally, not just on scale 1. I'm talking about scale 1, 2, 3, and 4. They're all in trouble. If you look at scale 1, that's just the absolute ones that are about to just drop over and keel over and pass away right now. I'm talking about banks, institutions. No, you got to look at all of them. Those are all count. We're talking about thousands upon thousands of banks that need that technology, that are in trouble, that need to save capital. And every single one of those is possible to scoop them up because they haven't resolved the problems yet that DLT Bankcoin company technology can help them resolve. They will save so much capital, they'll be able to reallocate it and continue to build. They'll be able to reallocate it and dig themselves out of a hole. That's why stuff like this is absolutely huge. I want to see if there's anything else. I know, folks, my apologies, but you can read this on your own. This is major. Listen to this. This is how you know they're serious. Money, so to speak, is becoming more expensive. Right. That I couldn't sum it up better. It says, and money must be raised. What did I just say? Money must be raised. They can save. The Bankcoin companies can save them so much money. That's why they've been praising it. This is why they keep discussing it. This is why everybody's racing right now. It was all planned. They knew this was coming. I'm telling you, I feel it. I know it. You see it. They're all racing to put out legislation and rules to unleash crypto. Why? Because they know that it's time to use it. It's time to fly, or you know the phrase. It's do or DIE time. It's time. This is going to happen. In my humble opinion, there's no way around it right now. They backed themselves into a corner. There's no way around it. But anyway, it says, and money needs to be raised. That comes from saving with DLT, building with DLT, providing new products with DLT. They will build up a huge cushion of value, and they will be able to reallocate it any way that they want, and they will thrive. That's what they want to do right now. It says raised, and that will make the people who are involved in bank coins possibly, right? I don't want to give any guarantees. Once again, not financial advice. That could equate to a massive pop in value in the price for those people who have been invested in these things for quite some time. But we'll see. Like I said, I'm not a psychic. It says here, raised to back new infrastructure initiatives. Exactly. They want to build. But where are they going to get the capital to build from? DLT, the bank coins, XRPL, Solana, Chainlink, Stellar, whatever. Algorand, they all help with this. Hedera, they all help with this. So it says to back new infrastructure initiatives tied to real-time payments. Okay, we're going to stop right there. But that's such a major article. I could go an hour with tearing that article apart. So now let's go here because I want to get this in. And the video is getting a little bit long. But this is major. I told you there was a second article. I was not joking or exaggerating whatsoever. This is a absolutely mind-blowing Saturday. They try to sneak these in on a Friday evening. As if anybody was reading articles. I got this morning early. I got up early. I'm doing a lot of my research early. This article is titled, Crypto Faces quote unquote starkest gap between sentiment and fundamentals. This is coming from Block Tower. You know what's happening? All the retail people running scared as usual. Retail does what it does. All the people behind the scenes, big money people, bullish on crypto. Asset managers, bullish on crypto. Developers, bullish on crypto. Guess what's happening now? A lot of the big money people that are remaining bullish on crypto, they're switching over from short-term holding and short-term planning. Why? To long-term planning, to long-term investments under this idea. This is what they're going to say here. Okay, I'll read a little bit to you in a moment. Under the idea that crypto, and I forget the verbiage. Let me just read it because I forget what they said. But let's just go into it, okay? And then I'll remember once I get there. It says, Block Tower Capital's founder sees the mismatch as a chance to make, quote, differentiated bets, unquote. Why would they do that with big money? If they would only do that if they know they're going to win. Crypto hasn't been unleashed yet. Crypto hasn't had its big moment yet, but it will. So long-term investors stand to gain beautifully from this. They know it. That's why they're doing this and saying this. Well, let's keep going. It says expecting, quote, trending outperformance, unquote, in the next run. That's what we've been saying. So it's unbelievable to me. So many people don't see it, but I don't need them to see it. I don't need them to see it all. All I need is what I said from the beginning when I first started the channel. I need those banks. And now I want those big businesses also. I want their money also. I want that bank money and I want their money also. And they're the ones who are going to do it. They're the ones who are going to make that price rip through the sky. It says it continues. The major disconnect between crypto traders growing short-term market uncertainty and crypto builders becoming more bullish. And that's an all-encompassing term, okay? More bullish than ever creates a prime setup for long-term investors. Boom. They're literally telling people right in their face. And this is one analyst, one researcher, one big company after another telling people this. It says, according to a crypto hedge fund founder, they're not here to lose money. They're here to make money. They don't have to say this now, while everything's not at its best. They gain nothing from that right now, in my humble opinion. This is, quote, this is one of the starkest divergences I've seen in sentiment and fundamentals, unquote. And I noticed that also. This is coming from Block Tower Capital founder Ari Paul, said in a March 14th X post. And it continues on here. Paul said that while traders and analysts have recently turned bearish on crypto, developers and more broadly those working for crypto companies less tied to market cycles remain significantly more bullish. Here comes the utility run. Here comes more business than ever. But what does that mean if you have a utility run? What does that equate to if you're going to be doing more business than ever? That means more capital in the future. That means prices going up. More utility, more advertising. Everything is bigger and better. They know this is what they're telling the people right here. This is, quote, all the data points I'm hearing from basically any crypto related project or company that doesn't rely on, quote, natives, unquote, near term is positive. He said, all the data points I'm hearing, all of them. If that's not bullish, I don't know what is. See, a lot of people fear that ultimate victory. They fear winning. They fear that moment doesn't come, so they just don't even try for that moment. But I'm here to tell you, I've lived the moment. I have. Oh, it's definitely possible. Getting that championship is possible. Getting the W, the win, the ultimate victory is possible. I felt it, and I'm going to feel it again. And I think that's what's coming. So now that you have that information, what are you going to do with it? I know what I'm going to do with it. So until next time, everybody, let's get to the money.